actually have a healthy amount of time for question and answer. We don't have that many on the sign-up sheet, so people in the audience that haven't had a chance to sign up will have the opportunity to just go with raised hands in just a minute. I do have a few names on the list. The first was Chris, and I'm not sure what you're called.
I'll pass right now.
Okay. So next in line would be Jerry Gilmore, and he's got a question about boating inspections.
This is for Ken Casement. Oh, here you are. I've got a keen interest in what you're doing here. I'm with the Coast Guard Auxiliary in the North Lake, and I'm a vessel examiner, so we don't get involved with this, but as an association, it's kind of interesting. But as a boater myself, up here 35 years, while fully supporting and understanding what we're trying to do here, I'm also concerned about how it's affecting the recreational boater. And the two issues that I have a concern about that I recently ran into was after a recent rainstorm, I went to launch and stopped by Alpine Meadows for an inspection and hadn't removed all the water from my boat from the rain. It had been several weeks since it had been in another water body, but because there was moisture there, no problem until they started injecting the hot water in my running engine. This is a 21-foot Sea Ray with an inboard engine, or inboard-outboard, and you introduce hot water into it and it immediately stalls the engine out because it senses an overheat. So my question is there a way of pumping the water through for your 3 minute that you're requiring without the engine running? I'm not a mechanic, so I don't know if you can go past the pump that way, because there's no way that my engine would run for 3 minutes. And it was dying every time. Well, I don't think I'm telling the story out of, but he allowed it to pass after trying 3 times on it. The other question, and again, this is ignorance on my part, but hopefully something we can work with. We live in a beautiful area here, and everything we're doing is concentrated on Lake Tahoe. But from the North Shore, we've also got Donner Lake, we've got Boca, we've got Stampede, we've got all these reservoirs around, beautiful different areas to go to. And without sounding mean, I mean, when we have police officers out there, we don't just have officers that write speeding tickets and officers that write running stoplights. I think if you're looking for invasive species, be it a live species or a plant species or something like that, that everybody could kind of be trained what to look for. And it seems to me that the decontamination is somewhat similar. It would certainly be nice if we could, the we concept that you've been talking about here, get the different counties, get the different states, all of which we have involved here, into the program. I have no problem. I have an annual in and out that I pay for, happily, but am I going to have to pay for each and every lake that I go around? And you're just going to kill the recreational boater up here, which some people may enjoy that, but those of us that do that, it'd sure be nice to have a more comprehensive program.
Yes, definitely. And you know, from the recreational side, you know, our goal has always been to create a path for boaters to comply with the program, to make it as simple as possible and as convenient as possible. We want to try to move people along and be able to get them on the lake as quickly as possible while still being as protected as we can. I don't know, Nicole, do you want to?
I can address that.
With regard to some of the other water bodies in the region, I want to refer maybe to Nicole and what the Tahoe RCD is doing in terms of inspection program based out of Truckee and working on that watershed as well. The concern about reciprocation of inspection programs and having multiple fees or multiple programs that you have to go to is a big concern, and it's one not only a concern here in Tahoe, not just in California, Nevada, the entire western states, and really the entire country as these inspection programs have come up. The challenge with reciprocation is a lot of what I talked about before in terms of the actual makeup of the species that are in various water bodies. And so trying to prevent the introduction even within the same basin here of species that have populated Tahoe and keeping them from moving to Fallen Leaf Lake. If we had reciprocation and they recognized our seals, then that it would essentially be inevitable that they would get some of those species there. So it's a challenge that we've been trying to work through, and I think the entire Western States, the 100th Meridian is an initiative of Western States. There's the Pacific States Marine Fisheries Commission, and others that are working on these programs to try to do something like that. But it is a huge challenge. Ted, you can speak about the project.
Well, I was going to say one thing on the decontamination too. Chris is here, he's one of our decontamination guys, but did want to mention that you cannot do a decontamination without running the engine. Most boats do have some sort of cutoff due to temperature, and so that's why when he did it multiple times, we knew that the water had fully gone through the system. So we'd like to run it for 3 minutes consistently. It also works to do it in short spurts. So that was that question. And the other question about the region-wide stuff, Tahoe RCD does have a Truckee program that's been in the makes now for a year and a half. We're working collaboratively together to hopefully work out some sort of regional cost between the two. I think Steve mentioned about Nevada's master plan for an AIS management plan, and hopefully we can work with them too, but it's difficult to say because we have stuff that they don't want. And so we don't want to be a source to someone else's problem by having a cost share. The other thing to mention is that on April 21st, there is a public forum that David Keene, he is the program coordinator for the Truckee region with Tahoe City. They're having a public forum there to discuss further progression for their program. So I wanted to mention that. You can go to our website and get more information about the time and the date for that. Forgot something. Oh, Independence. Independence is also doing a recreational survey for that area, and that's through the Nature Conservancy. So to talk about different recreational uses and how they can better serve the surrounding area.
One comment. I surveyed Independence Lake 2 years ago. It is pristine. There are no invasive, non-native aquatic plants that I could find in the entire lake. It was amazing in a way. But it was just a beautiful thing to see up there. It's really untouched.
Did we get all aspects of that?
I think so. I think one of the questions I had as to whether you could lower the water temperature going in so that you didn't reach that max, and so that measuring the output water temperature, if it's 140, I think is what you're looking for, and if your output was 140, if that wouldn't suffice, rather than putting 140 in, because, I mean, it lasts 30 seconds and the engine's gone.
Yeah. You know, the end result is we want 140 coming out for 3 minutes. And so some engines don't even allow that temperature to get up to it. So we have to start off with 140 and able to get it to the end result.
There are a number of sensitive, if you will, systems on the boat that we are aware of. And there is research to suggest that a slightly lower temperature for a longer period of time would enable those systems to take in that water. And so it is something that we look at when we address our protocols. Our general protocol is 140 degrees because that has been found to be the most effective temperature. But there are cases, and some of this new equipment that we've purchased for this season will allow us to have a little more flexibility in terms of the temperatures and simply use it for a little bit longer period of time.
I'm glad to hear that you're recognizing this, because the program was new, and unfortunately my inspector kept on insisting I had an engine problem. And I went and put it in the lake and it ran perfectly all day.
Well, thanks. Great question and comment. That cleared up some issues. And just, you know, specifically in regards to working with other lakes and various partners, we are doing a lot to make the process more convenient. For example, we do honor inspection stickers from Fallen Leaf Lake, but not vice versa, because, you know, as has been said, each lake has their own natural resource issues, their own species. In some cases, we do still have some lakes without invasive species in them. So we need to address those on an individual basis, and it wouldn't really make sense at this point to enable someone to hop from